G'day guys, Dom here. Welcome to Friday Knife Drop. So again, it's been another massive week in the workshop. A lot of metal being removed, a lot of grinding. I just dropped off all 40 plus 12C27 blades at heat treat, as well as the Nitro V blades are all at heat treat right now. And hopefully, according to the heat treaters, they'll be back in my hands next week, all heat treated and cried and all that sort of sexy stuff. So hopefully we have some, some done Akumus maybe. That'd be nice. I'd love to get those Nightmare Grind Akumus done. Still trying to get stuff sorted out for Sydney. So at the moment, I've been spending most of this week kind of grinding these things. So these are the Gen 2 Surgeons. You'll notice that every single one of these is now noticeably thinner, because this genius, this brilliant man, bought 4mm thick D2 instead of 3mm thick D2. And you know, 1mm doesn't sound like a whole lot of difference, but that's 25% heavier. So I've been going through and surface grinding them all down, and that is a fucking nightmare of a job. I've been pretty much running the surface grinder non-stop for the last 3 days to get these all down to the appropriate thickness. 1mm might not sound like a lot, but that means the knife is 25% heavier than it needs to be. And you know what, honestly, I probably could have not mentioned anything and gotten away with it, but you know, I'm trying to make the best product I can. And if that means I have to surface grind these all down, so be it. So these are all getting surface grind. I'm now most of the way through. There's another 20? Yeah, another 20 that need to be surface grind, and then I'm done surface grinding. I'll be in here all weekend pretty much surface grinding these things, and if they're not surface grind by Sunday night, I'll just pull an all-nighter and fuck it. These are gonna go to machining next week. Because if they're going to machining next week, that means they can get machined pretty quickly. They'll go back to you pretty quickly to get them done and for the pre-orders sorted as quickly as possible. Pre-orders are still on the website, so if you're interested in Surgeon, they are on the website right now at a discounted price because, you know, pre-orders and cash flow and all that sort of important business stuff. So these are all getting surface grind. Very excited to see these done. These are going to be really cool. I'm definitely going to be keeping one of these for myself. Also, I have these things. So these are all the new design I mentioned before, all in D2 steel, and right now I'm calling them the no-name knife, which is not very creative. So if anyone's got a better idea for a name, hit me up. The names some of you guys come up with are usually pretty funny. So yeah, there's 11 of these coming in total. There was supposed to be 12, but one of them died, not very nicely. Waterjet decided to slice it up a little bit. So there's 11 of them now. So these are all in D2 steel, and they kind of started life off as my contender model, which is a knife I don't really make a whole lot anymore. I'm probably going to discontinue it. So this might be the replacement for that. And it's essentially that knife stretched out with some added, you know, holes and stuff to make it a bit more stylish. So this is pretty much the rough cutout you get from Waterjet, and from here I do a bit of work to it and make it look like this. This is pretty much the rough cutouts. This is all 5mm thick D2, but I'm going to be losing about 0.5mm to 1mm of that surface grinding this down because I bought a bunch of this D2 really cheaply, and the reason it's so cheap is it's all twisted and nasty and rusted up. So luckily I've got the surface grinder, and since it's already working really hard, we might as well get these surface grinded and save a bit of money. If I've actually saved money, I doubt, but we'll see. So this is pretty much the pre-heat treat version. So this is going to get heat treated probably next week. These holes here and here are just decoration. These here just kind of, you know, add some style to the handle. And I added these holes by the plunge here because it lines up with the plunge line, and it kind of draws your eye to that nice sweeping plunge. So just a random little style feature. I used to do this quite a bit back in the day, and I thought I might just bring it back on this knife. And this is the first knife I'll be coming out with a glass breaker. It's a very low profile glass breaker. I don't know if it works yet, so after heat treat we'll try breaking some bottles and stuff, and if it works we'll keep it there, and if not I'll just grind them off and sell them without a glass breaker. I've never really been a huge fan of them. I think they're pretty unnecessary and they tend to get caught on stuff, but this one's really low profile. I mean, that's not really sharp at all, and I mean this knife is just begging for a glass breaker. I've got big hands, and that's a pretty generous handle on these things. I've also done the bit different finger cutout here, so that if somebody wants to, they can stick their thumb in there like that and cut cord or whatever. You can see how thin these things are right now. I'm doing a flat grind on these things all the way up to the spine, and that actually adds a lot of metal there to reinforce it, so I can get away with a thinner edge on these things. And let me tell you right now, guys, these are going to be some fucking slicing beasts. Very excited to get these things done. So this is going to be coming out definitely before August. When exactly, I don't know. None of them are pre-sold. I'm probably not going to sell any in advance because I'm not quite sure about colors and all that just yet. So any names, let me know. I I've also got this guy done. This was actually a regrind of the old Gunslinger design that I made back in, I don't know when, but I discontinued it a while ago. I had one of the old blanks and I just kind of cut it up a little bit and made this thing out of it. This one is currently sold. It went off to one of my collectors. So he's gonna be getting that probably next week. I'm just waiting for him to pay for some other stuff and then I'll ship it all to him together. So this is in a bead blasted finish with a rock pattern and distressed peaks. And that really sexy two-tone satin. Nice swedge. And the hollow grind there. And the hole there, just cause. Just a nice little neck knife. And pretty lightweight too. Because it's pretty thin steel. So yeah, that's the knife I made this week. Knife maker not making any knives apparently. I also did this pen this week. This is number 18. I actually did this for a friend. He's the guy who pretty much put together my grinding room. So as a thank you, I made him a pen. I've talked so much about pens in the last 3 weeks, so I'm pretty sure you guys are all over them. But there is another batch coming before August. So they're all gonna be the same kind of deal as this thing, stainless steel, pretty much the same as this, all serialized. I'll be doing 50 of them in that batch. And that is gonna be a lot of work. I've never done a batch of 50, so that's gonna be terrifying, but we'll get through it, I'm pretty sure. 15 of those are gonna go to Urban EDC Supply. A bunch of them are pre-sold and I'll be taking a handful to Sydney. How many, I don't know yet, but probably less than 6. So if you want a pen, I suggest getting on the pre-order because they do tend to sell out pretty quick. So the last batch sold out within a day or two, so unless you're quick, they're kind of tough to get one unless you jump on the pre-order. Now last but not least, with this big chunk of RWL 34 for the Primus project. Originally I was after 20CV for the Primus project, but I decided against it. 20CV is a steel that I have very, very little experience with. And since the Primus project is something that's very important to me, I picked the best steel that I know and that I'm familiar with. So I decided to go with RWL 34. It's pretty much a cleaner version of CPM 154. So it's a rock solid steel, and from this I'll be able to get about 20 Primus blades. Primus knives will be coming out hopefully before August. I'll have a handful done. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Hopefully with more knives.